everyone. Welcome to the Purpose Over Profits podcast. My name is Jeremy Powers, president of Powers Insurance Experts.
And I'm Jim Floyd, owner of Ascent Total Performance.
And today we have an American citizen joining us on this podcast, Daniel Yilmaz. Are we supposed to clap in a podcast? Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do it.
Hello, my fellow American citizens.
That's right. So I felt it only fitting for those of you that don't know, Daniel hosts, produce, all of the content for Powers Insurance Experts, this podcast, amongst many other things, and do a lot of work with you guys as well. So my claim to fame is that I've introduced him to a lot of the people that he works with.
That's true.
And he doesn't make me look bad. So it's a win-win.
So it's so nice to have you on the other side with this too.
It's going to be interesting.
Well overdue.
All those texts I've gotten, I could have done this better. Like you should really get to work.
This is not true.
I'm just joking. And up for best of free times, we might say.
Yes, we're nominated this year, as well as I think both of you, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Soon to be father. Like what else? Like new Honda.
It's a pretty big year for us.
New Honda owner.
Yes.
That's
my claim to fame.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big year of becoming a citizen, becoming a father, continuing to grow the business. So exciting times to be a Yilmaz.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, to me, we had a very interesting opportunity last episode when we had Brad Swenson on to uncover something new.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really neat to me. And I feel like we have that same opportunity here with you today, and really want to get into it right away. You started a business, you're married, you're doing all these things, and here you are here on I'm assuming it's called a visa, a green card or something.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even official, but yet you're taking these moves that people just aren't willing to take.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to talk about what kind of coffee are you drinking when you wake up in the morning?
Whoa.
Some big moves, some awesome things, but I just think it's a testament to who you believe you really are and what you're going after. So want to dive into that.
That's a good question. I feel like a lot of people have recently told me in the last few years that they never knew that I was a hustler or I'm a grinder, which I don't think I am. I still don't think that I like to grind things out. I think one of the reasons I'm entrepreneurial is, at the end of the day, in my core, I'm lazy. And that's why I own a business, is so I can set myself up for success. So ultimately I can be lazy. But I don't know. I think a lot of the success that's come into our lives, number one, it's because of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't attest it to myself at all.
Sure.
But outside of that, it's just, I've been so privileged to be surrounded by so many people in my life, from my childhood with my parents and the church that I grew up in Turkey, to men who've mentored me in high school, to coming over to the US and people that have helped me transition to here. And now as a business owner, having guys like you that are great mentors, and just learning how to be a business owner, how to be just a good person in the community, and all those things combined. So yeah, I feel like I can't really take any credit for all of it. It's just, I've been surrounded by great people, and I just, instead of just listening, I also acted on it, I guess, from the things that I've learned. So, yeah.
He's proof of what a quality wife can do for you.
That's true. My wife, who's actually behind the camera right now, is the MVP of
That's
of
right.
my life.
She's taking a selfie right now. It's a
That's right.
selfie camera right
That's
there.
right.
I'm just playing. No, but it's it's just incredible. And I remember meeting you. Stephanie brought you into a room. You stood up in a networking. So guys, if you're not getting this, so many conversations all started in a networking environment. Okay. So put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and that's where good things grow. As long as they're healthy, uncomfortable situations.
Yes,
but I would just say I remember meeting you. I remember thought this guy's a little bit more of an introvert when I first, met him. But when you spoke and when you talked about it, you could sense that passion. And you were a young entrepreneur. You're just man, this is something I want to do. This is something I'm excited about. And I just said, man, if I could just somehow shake this guy and say dude, you don't know me. I just need you to trust me. I just need you to trust me. And I don't know what special sauce we put on it that day, but you listened and you trusted me. And I said, if you trust me, in 1 year from now, you're going to pay for the whole year. You're going to say, I'm maybe 2, 5 years, whatever I can do. And that's happened, And so it's just been such an awesome testament to you're willing to say yes. And I think that's where a lot of your success comes. You might say that it's because you want to be lazy. I wouldn't call that laziness.
I don't
No,
really
thinking about this
agree with
wrong
that.
the whole time.
Yeah.
I would say that you want to be in control, like in a good way. You don't want to be a yes man to anyone. You want to be in control of your yeses, you know? And so ultimately I think that that's actually a biblical thing.
Yeah. I think it's more of knowing what you want and where you want to be. And you're taking the steps now. And it doesn't have to be this like all energy all the time, grind it out kind of things, but taking these methodical steps to build the life that you want. And so that's the opposite of lazy. It's more
good perspective on there. Yeah. But no, I really have been privileged with just being surrounded by great people, again, like you guys, to kind of coach me and lead me through a lot of that stuff. So, you know, I mean, we tell a lot of people we don't own a business because of the money opportunity. We own a business because of the lifestyle opportunity. We just get to have a lot more time together. I mean, we work together as husband and wife, which is incredible. I remember when we first started our marriage life, and we were both working 9 to 5s, and I'd come home and just tell Michelle, hey, I see my coworkers more than you during the week. And I just didn't want that. So, you know, stuff like that has just been really, really thrilling for us to be able to kind of live that life together. But I do think a lot of it is just the action aspect, you know, like I wouldn't say, kind of like with Brad Swenson, you guys pointed out that his dream was to be a football coach. And then now he is with PMI and he's doing a great job with it. And that's his current dream. So I think for me, I never necessarily dreamed to be like a media mogul of any kind. I just always dreamt to have my own business in some sort of way and just have flexibility in my life. So, you know, which we'll get to the story of that now. I'll go ahead and cue myself up for that real quick. But when I came to the US for college and met my wife within my first 24 hours of being in the US. Which pretty incredible. Nice. And then after college, moved down here because she's from Colombia. When we started after marriage, she was as a teacher and I just got a job at an insurance company locally. And I was there for 2 years, and it was really boring, but it was a great company. Like they're still a client of ours. They were just incredible people. Again, just surrounded by great people that poured out a lot into me. Like we'd start our days with like men's Bible study, which I don't know which company would do that. So, you know, a lot of different people, all managers, the president of the company, they really poured into me. And I just realized in just those 2 years that that's not really where I wanted to be because it wasn't fulfilling in the job that I was doing. And at that point, they didn't really have any positions that I've, you know, felt interested in. And so we were praying through and thinking through a lot, like, okay, what can we do with our lives? And, you know, we wanted something more fulfilling that was a little more of a creative bend because we both had creative outlets at the time. And I was talking to a colleague at the time who was quitting his job, and he was a guy in his 50s. And he was taking a job that he really wanted to pursue. And he said, so I asked him for a piece of advice. He said he looked back in his 20s and 30s, and there were times where he could have taken a risk to pursue something that he really wanted to pursue, but he always played it safe. So he said, don't be afraid to fail. So I went home, told Michelle, hey, we're in our 20s. We don't have any kids. We don't, you know, have a mortgage. Like this is the time to risk it. And I think jumping into it that way made a lot of sense to me. And like, in a sense, I was scared, but at the same time, I thought, you know, we're surrounded by a great community. The worst that can happen is we'll just get other jobs and, you know, we'll always have other people to lean on. And so I just, that safety and that comfort, I think just allowed me to push myself to think, you know, while we're young, let's just go ahead and try this thing out. So, and you know, it wasn't like media was ever necessarily something I fully wanted to be in. I knew I wanted something creative, and I grew up as a, you know, product of my generation. I grew up watching YouTube videos and getting a sense for like editing and style and framing, storytelling, kind of all these concepts. But I didn't go to school for this. You know, I didn't study this in any particular manner outside of just watching YouTube videos. And I think I just realized as I was looking around the business world that a lot of people don't really care about your background in terms of like, what did you study? You know, where'd you go to school? In most fields, like in media, like they just want to say, hey, show me a few videos and websites that you've done. And as long as they like it, they're like, okay, clearly you're good at what you do. So, so I'm really glad we took that leap of faith and got to meet people like you guys. So it's been a fun journey.
I think it's just, the big thing that resonates with me is, you having that conversation with your coworker and just like, him having that regret of not taking those risks early and just being able to act upon that. that's a huge thing, because I think we all go through that at some point too. And it's like, so those moments in our life when you have those kind of cardinal
Yeah.
decisions, and that really determines the trajectory of things too.
Mm.
So
I
I
would
think,
challenge you to find him and say thank you.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually funny because we were walking around in a neighborhood in Forest Acres, which is, I didn't know, but that's where he lives. So as Michelle and I are on our walk, he comes out on his front yard and he's like, "Oh, hey guys." We're like, "Hey, how are you?" And he's like, "Do you guys live here?" We're like, "No, we're just drove across town to walk in this neighborhood because, you know, it's nice and green."
Yeah.
And so we told him like, "Hey, we quit our jobs. Like we started our business because of the advice
We're
you gave." And he's
homeless
like,
now. We came
"Whoa,
to live
guys,
with you."
oh, like I didn't tell you to do that," which is, it's really funny. But yeah, I mean, it's something
We live out of this car right here. We live wherever we want
exactly.
to.
But something that to him probably was so insignificant that he was just, you know,
Mhm.
sharing a piece of advice with a young man,
Mhm.
which was pretty, you know, pivotal in our lives.
Yeah.
So
Our words are significant.
they are, yeah.
People
yeah.
are watching, people are listening. Like that's why, like, just if even if you're having a bad day, like just
Mhm.
find something to be positive for, because you might, if he hadn't said that to you, I mean, seriously, if he hadn't, maybe it would have been 3 more years, maybe it would have been
Mhm.
5, maybe it would have been never. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think that what can be so insignificant to one person can be so meaningful to
Mhm.
another. And I know I've heard multiple situations about you and the way that you value your team,
Mhm.
the things that we talk about, even whenever someone maybe is leaving an organization, the way that you handle that exit and the
Yeah.
way that you handle it with respect. And like that is not going unnoticed. And that's what I have so
Yeah.
much respect about with you. And a lot of things that I struggle with, I can just see with your process. It's like Brad's talking about the game plans and all the different things. It's like, man, I admire that so much about Jim. And I'm so thankful that he talks about it.
Mhm.
That because it's something that I need to hear, even though it's just normal for him, it's something that I need to hear
Mhm.
for that wake up call. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
a good cup of coffee in the morning. Sometimes when you hear that, it's like, man, like it sparks something inside of you. And so I think
Mhm.
that's the beauty of collaboration
Right.
and ultimately community.
Yeah, we all learn from each other too, and we're going to pick
Mhm.
up on things too. And so I know whenever, even in our pre-recording, when we're just talking about general things,
Mhm.
I always learn so much from both of y'all with just talking about just different things that are going on.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Daniel, so we're multiple years in now,
Mhm.
and so let's pick out a couple things that you've learned, maybe a couple things that have happened that you didn't anticipate or didn't plan for, or that kind of thing too.
Taxes.
Yeah.
People don't tell you about how expensive it is to have a
Yep.
business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I think like when you are just an employee, you have like an amount of money you want to
Yep.
make in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And in business ownership, you have to tack on like 20, 30K to that
Mhm.
Yep.
just to cover all the, you know, equipment purchases, payroll taxes,
Yeah.
just there's what is it, personal business property tax?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I pay the government money to purchase equipment, but then every year I have to pay them more tax just to have the privilege of owning this
Oh yeah.
equipment. So I think things like that have been pretty crazy to see, which again is why earlier I was saying that we tell people we don't do this for the money, we do this for the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things is just, yeah, how expensive it can be. And we don't have a brick and mortar,
Mhm.
you know, we're not spending tens of thousands of dollars a month to run our business. You know, our business is pretty low overhead after the initial spend of buying all the cameras, all the lenses, you know, all that stuff. It's pretty self-sustaining at that point.
Yeah.
And it's just a few upgrades here and there that we need to make. But even still, like just the taxes and the payroll stuff is just, it's kind of wild to see. So I can't even imagine how you guys operate in the levels that you do with having employees and actual, you know, storefronts and stuff and
Yeah.
have people coming in and out of your store. And so it's a whole nother level. But I would say that's one of the first things. Another thing is just that it's really hard to continue in that, you know, entrepreneurial journey, kind of the cyclicalness of it, which you guys talked about in a previous episode. Or like you think about how you want to leave corporate America because it's like a rat race and it's like constantly churning out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's essentially what small business ownership is too. Like
Yeah.
It is.
when we get a new client, we can't just focus everything on that client, get that video or the website, whatever it is done,
Yeah.
and then move on.
Yeah.
Because while we're servicing that client, I need to be out there finding new clients so that when that client's done, I'm on to the next one and on to the next one.
So I
So
say you have more clients than us.
Yeah, it's surprisingly.
What in the world?
Yes, yes.
I would never know it, how fast you
Yes.
guys take care of
It's
stuff.
mostly,
Marketing,
hey,
the little
that's
commercial
right.
for them, you know?
So, yeah, I think those are a couple of the things, but you really need to just have resilience. And again, you just need community around you. You need a supportive spouse. You need supportive family. You need supportive business owners that you know. And I mean, I've just been flabbergasted that we're surrounded by, people like you that for some reason just continue to choose to send business our way. And it really is humbling, I think, just to see, like when I met Jeremy 6 months into starting our business and convincing me to join our BNI group. And from there, connecting with people like Jim.
Mhm.
And then, Jim, we did, your website and your video initially as you were launching Ascent. And then you connected us with other PTs
Yep.
out in Florence that we, drove all the way there and did a video and website for. So it really snowballs, and people, you just treat them with dignity. You give them, good products. And I think Columbia has been special in that case. I tell a
Mhm.
lot of people that I don't think we could have started this business if it wasn't for a small kind of community vibe that Columbia has. So in that
Sure.
sense, we're really, really blessed as well. So I think you just need to have good community around you to
Yeah.
to be able to do something like this. So
Yeah.
Yep.
And I want to go back because we went and you created your own segue, so I never got to say it earlier.
yes.
But multiple times, I just want to go on it again, this tangent of laziness. Because so many times you said, well, this was this way and I didn't like it. Laziness is just laying in it and saying it kind of is what it is. This is the life. This is how my family was raised. This is just a generational curse. This is just part of being
Yeah.
what American. This is just blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
This is just part of. But like you literally embodied the opposite. So I would
Wow,
challenge
thank
you
you.
with your self thinking to figure out and create the word that it actually is,
Mhm.
because that is something that keeps popping back up in my head of like, at every time where you had a crossroad, like you guys have literally chose to do something. You chose to take action, and
Yeah.
laziness is the opposite.
Yeah, we're really
Wow.
taking you to
Yeah.
task on that.
This
It's
Yeah.
like,
is
I'm gonna rue the day I ever
seriously,
said that.
It's like free
Yeah.
free business therapy
Yeah,
over
that's
here.
right,
Wow.
you know?
Come
So
be
it
a,
just-
come be a guest on the podcast.
Like with everything you say, like you complete the opposite of it. So
Yeah.
it's just like somebody out there needs to hear that. Now, one thing too is like you had someone say something to you that meant something to you. I love to do this. Look into that beautiful camera that you tell us not to look into that often, and tell
Yes.
someone what they need to hear, because it was said to you. Like at this point right now, I don't think you regret what you've done. But like if you had something that you could just say to someone, what would that be?
Just do it.
Boom.
Don't be afraid to fail.
I'm trying to trademark that still, Daniel. Quit bringing it up.
No, I genuinely think like a lot of, the difference between people that, it's kind of an overgeneralization, but the difference between people that are doing the things they want and the people that are not doing the things they want is that the former are just doing it.
Yeah.
Like there
Oh,
really
yeah.
isn't any magic to,
No.
like when I meet certain people and they're like, oh, you own a business in your 20s. And I just think it's not like, it may sound kind of like ethereal, like how did you attain that? But I mean, you guys are business owners, there's
Yeah.
literally nothing special about
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm overgeneralizing, and
No,
not
that's
every
so
person
true,
has
though.
access.
Yeah, you're
So
totally
Yeah.
right.
you just have to do it.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I
Yeah.
think about that with a lot of things I'm, outside of our business that I'm pursuing in my life.
Yeah.
If you have something that you want to go after, you just have to start doing it,
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
just see where it goes.
Oh man, yeah, you're see, I get fired up just
Yeah.
hearing that kind of stuff, and
Yeah, when
I,
you see Jim moving in a seat,
oh yeah, and it's
getting into
big,
it.
but it's like say, and that's like with anything in life
Mhm.
too. If you don't like something, do something about it.
Amen.
And if you're gonna complain about something, complain is a waste of time. Do
Mhm.
something about it. You don't like where you are, but business wise,
Yeah,
got to do something about
that's
it.
true.
Take
one
that.
of the
That's-
one of the things that Billy Colucci said in our networking group a few weeks ago, which is one of the things that sounds so corny, but he said there is no change without change.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. Like
Yeah.
it's so true. If you want something to change in your life, if you want to attain something, unless you change, if you do something new to get to that goal, nothing's going to change. So
Mhm.
The biggest reason people get stuck is because they make something simple complex.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
Because you think that it can't be that easy. And it's not that it's easy, it's just that it's one step at a time.
Mhm.
Like you don't go from crawling to running a race. You know what I mean? Like it happens over time. And the
Mhm.
thing is like that's another thing about business ownership is like sometimes in your business you have to do what looks like you're shrinking to expand wider than you ever have before.
Mhm.
And so it's like that's the thing is that school and everything, and I'm not going to go off onto a tangent, but like it was literally school was created, the educational system was created to get kids out of labor fields pretty much because they're working at very young ages, and it was to put them through the ringer of getting used to a 9 to 5 or
Mhm.
an 8 to 3:30 in that rhythm of taking commands from someone else and to just obey.
Mm.
The educational system is not necessarily this beautiful thing that is just designed to make humanity a better thing. It's honestly designed to make a better workforce of
Mm.
people that do what someone's asked them to do. And I'm not sitting here saying bad things about schooling or this, that. I do, however, like the concepts that are coming out where there's a lot more hands-on and a lot more, entrepreneurship type stuff. And, because
Mm.
I mean, that's where the real sauce is. And that's where people have to defy and go against the grain to create anything incredible.
Mm.
But it's still at the very start of it simple. And I think that that is something that you're showing a master class on with the steps that you've taken. And you're like, well, I don't know. It's just, I just started there and I've walked to here. And it's like, that's the beauty of it. It's that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just keep going, you know?
I think one of the other big things, and hearing you talking about the community that's around you and all the support and all that kind of stuff, and we talked about this multiple times over the course of all the different episodes of you tend to be the average of the people that you surround yourself with
Mm.
too, and I think that's really something that gets missed a lot when somebody gets starting out with that of you want to learn from other people, but it's also you need those people that are going to push you and hold you to accountable with things and help guide you or give you that kick in the butt when you need it, and also to be able to commiserate with too. It's like, man, this sucks sometimes,
Yeah.
Mm.
and all that kind of stuff too. But if you're with those right people that
Mm.
help to continue to pull you up, that makes such a huge difference versus going the other direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very
Well, no,
true.
you're
Yeah.
here. You're here with me to make the content videos, the things that like jokingly enough, you bought a vehicle the other day and you said, "Hey, Jeremy, I just watched the YouTube video on what I should do." And it's
Mhm.
so cool to see in an instance like you help create it, but then also you experience it and you live it.
Mm.
I remember very early on, I had a difficult conversation with you. It's early on in business ownership, and because it was very much price, price, price. And I understand that when you're on a fixed income, this, that, and the other.
Mm.
But it's like you've also got to understand, okay, well, this is $200 more, or this is $50 more, $60 more. But what can it do for me?
Mm.
What if this were a seed instead of a bill? What could I harvest? What kind of harvest could
Mm.
I get from this? And so, ultimately, you taking that on, and I think that it helps you because when you take on that mindset, it helps you get your value out of your clients
Mm.
because you start seeing it differently. But then it also helps you say yes to some things that maybe a more conservative version wouldn't have said yes to, which actually then halt your ability to then flourish.
Mm.
And so I think that there's so many times where we have an opportunity and things that we hear we can choose to, okay, let's try it. Or like, no, 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 I'm too scared to get out of my comfort zone. And time again, you just continuously do that. And it's just, I think just as inspirational to us. I think
Mhm.
I speak for both of us when I say
Yeah.
that to say,
Yeah.
hey, like, here's another person. Yeah, we might be a mile further down the road, but we're all walking on the same road. We just had a couple year head start and we can already see you catching up to us in the
Yeah.
background. So
Yeah.
if anything, like, you've got fresher legs, homeboy. So you might
Mhm.
pass us before it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
that's what's exciting though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that I'll still have room at your table. You might be like
Oh, you
Jeremy,
guys will always
gotta
have room at my table. Like,
we're putting you at the kids' table,
no, I really appreciate both of you. I mean, Jeremy, I remember when I told you how when we started the business, Michelle got another job to, bridge the risk gap for us so that as I was trying to get the business off the ground, we could have a paycheck coming in. But the ultimate goal of her joining the business at some point too. And I remember you telling me that that was on your like goal
Vision
storyboard,
board.
vision
Yep.
board,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just thinking like, why does someone else care so much about our
Yeah.
family's success? So just being blown away by that. And then Jim, you over the years, I've learned so much from you as a business owner. And one of the things that really stood out to me was, there's a guy who is in my small group who listens to the podcast a lot, and he was really encouraged to start a business through this.
Mhm.
And when he started, he jumped in potentially a little too early, so he faced a lot of challenges when he started out. And there were a lot of people in his life that were trying to tell him like, don't get scared. You have to push through. This is just what the entrepreneurial journey is like.
Mm.
And even though he's a direct competitor of yours,
Yeah.
you met with him several times. You even encouraged him to seek it out. You know, he, even when there was talks about like, do I want to sell my business to you? I know even then, like talking with you personally and you saying, I don't think he should, because it's not, you know, you shouldn't make a decision like that in a moment like this. So
Mhm.
just seeing your integrity, and like you could have bought him out and had a great business built already for you, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And I was just really amazed by that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like you both really, I think, exemplify servant leadership and just being great mentors and coaches to people. So
I
yeah, so
appreciate
thank
that.
you both.
Oh,
for
man,
It's
being
funny.
good
One of my
guys.
claim to fame moments is I'm in a coffee shop like a couple months back, and Caden Pardham. I think I'm saying the last name right, Pardham. So it's so funny because I was just there at Word a Drink, and I'm just standing there, and I was like saying something like, "Hey, I'll be there to get their insurance." Blah blah blah. He was just like, "Hey, quick question: Are you Jeremy Powers?" And I'm like,
There you go.
"I paid my tab last time, bro. Get off my back." I'm just playing. He's like, "Dude, you're my insurance agent," and he's like, "Daniel Yilmaz introduced us," and blah blah. He was just like, and I'm like, who like remembers their insurance agent's name even?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's just like that was a God moment where he was just kind of like, dude, like every person matters. And like, you know, I remember that's one thing the Lord's blessed me with is that I can remember most conversations that I have with people. Now, if we've grown to 1,100 customers, that has become more difficult over time. But you can
Mhm.
call me from a client that's not even my client anymore, from Allstate 7 years ago. When I hear your voice and you explain it, I remember the whole thing.
Hmm.
But I can't keep a schedule to save my life. Like I have probably missing 4 meetings right now because we're in this. You know, so I know my faults, but it's just a blessing to like have that. The Lord's blessed me with that, but then to see that, because I'm pretty sure I insure like your entire. If someone joins a church, like that
Yeah,
you
you pretty
go
much
to,
insure all our
there
small group
must
at
be
this
like
point.
something
So
that's like, okay, our covenants, all right, 10 is
pretty
Powers
much.
Insurance Experts, you
It's
know,
in,
and
it's in
so
the
I
bylaws
need to
of the
make a
church.
need to make a like a appearance here where they'd be like, "What's up?" You
Yes,
know, party people.
exactly.
So you know, but it's just been a blessing because the people you surround yourself, even from a community perspective, are all these people that are they're out there making it happen. And when I meet anyone that you connect me to, other than like maybe if they're going through a tough time in a moment, they're just really in a hard spot.
Mm,
They're people that are just so giving. They have such like it's leaders lead from the back. They
mm,
lead by serving. And I think that when you put yourself around that, what seems so hard to most people that don't have the Lord in their life is that you should always be on top. You should always be
Mhm.
at the top. And I
yeah.
think that when servant leadership is something that you truly live by, entrepreneurship just kind of makes sense
Mhm.
because like you're out there to serve. And I just think that it's so cool to like see all these things. It's like something that's just being
Mhm.
tied together. It's like a web, and it's
Yeah.
just super cool.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
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 Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Well, other than the Purpose Over Profits podcast, what is something that you've taken in, something that you've consumed that has just been like, man, I'd share that with the world.
You would think after editing 70 episodes of this podcast, I would have an answer to that. Well, the classic answer would be what traction, atomic habits, you know,
There
all
you
that
go.
stuff. I don't know. I don't know that I have any like one book or one video or one thing that I've watched. I think it's just been a conglomeration of a bunch of different YouTubers that I've watched that I've learned how to edit from. It's been tons of local business owners like you guys that I've
Mhm.
just observed how you lead your own businesses. And I think really there's so much, I think there's a lot of wisdom in observing business owners that are in completely unrelated industries
Yeah.
from you and just see how they do what they do in their field, because there's a lot of stuff that not only are they transferable because it's just leadership in general, but I think there's a lot of wisdom in transferring knowledge from other industries to yours to implement things that haven't been done in your industry before. So yeah, so I guess my cop out answer is I don't really have one thing to say, but I think just think about where you want to be, the things you want to learn. Like if you want to know how to edit videos, go on YouTube, Google people, you know, see what people are teaching on how to edit. If you want to be a PT, look at, you know, how many years of schooling do I need and go through that. So just
Yeah.
research, I guess.
Keep it
It's-
simple, stupid.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's really cool too. So we're now in an age where there's so many resources out there that you don't have to pay for too.
Mhm.
And so just such a cool time to you can learn anything about anything.
Mhm.
And so leverage that stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, man, how can people not take up our space that we get to work with you. But if you were to take on a
Right.
third client,
Yes.
Yeah.
how could people interview for that opportunity?
Well, you can reach out to us at yilmazmediaco.com and reach out to us there. That's probably the easiest way to do it. So
Yeah.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, as we wrap this up,
Yeah.
I'm just going to look into the camera and I'm going to speak to baby Yilmaz for a second. Okay.
oh my
So
gosh.
in the future, when you
stop,
watch,
stop it right now.
when you watch this and you just get to experience how awesome your dad is, just know you have an amazing mom that's over here in the back. I haven't been able to see it, but I've been able to like feel her smile like behind me as she watches her husband. And I'm just telling you, you have an amazing future in front of you. You have two servant leaders who are in love with you because they're in love with each other, because they put the Lord first. And I'm just super excited for you to watch this 10 years and 5, 10, 15, when you're 35, whatever it may be. And just know that, man, you have got some cool parents and you should just give them a hug around the neck if they're there to let you do it. Thank you guys.
Wow.
Have a good one.
Absolutely.
Wait. Jim, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it was like
What are
Jeremy
you gonna
does this,
say?
and it's like,
You know?
so I'll take it for both of y'all. It's been fun to watch the journey and how much you've grown, and with all the success that you've had and some of the challenges you've had and all that kind of stuff, being able to work through that and just being able to watch that go. I think that's been a really, really cool thing for me to see, and I'm super, super proud of y'all too. So that's,
Thank you guys.
See, his was better. That's why I tried to end it.
Okay, all
Daniel.
right, all right.
That's
We'll end
why
it
I
right
tried to
there.
end it.
We'll end it right there. Thank you.